Good afternoon, dear listeners. This is Imad Kasir, your RJ from the program Mind and Muse on Planet FM 87.6. Every Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. we dive deep into the rich worlds of art, literature, mind sciences, book reviews, and much more. We also invite esteemed guests to our studios to have discussions on these areas. And dear listeners, you can catch us live on www.radio.gov/live-streaming. You can also follow our Facebook page with the name Planet FM 87.6, and you can also download the Radio Pakistan's official app from the Play Store, and you can listen to us there as well. And dear listeners, today we are joined by a special guest. We had invited him earlier also, almost a couple of months back, and the response and the feedback on that program was wonderful. And he is a PhD in clinical psychology. He is the CEO and founder of Psychology Experts. Dr. Arslan Akhtar Ali is with us, and we will be discussing so many different areas. We'll be discussing the stress we see these days due to this the global scenario that we see in the news, and this war going on, and the impact of that war on common people like us. And we'll be discussing the how to keep us calm, and how to keep us balanced during these these times. And also I have been asked by a couple of my friends to to ask Dr. Sahab about the stress that we face in our office lives, these appraisals and the stress among the colleagues to perform better, and how to keep ourselves positive, and we'll be discussing a lot more with him. So Dr. Arslan Akhtar Ali Sahab, thank you very much for taking time out to join us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and the honor is all mine. And I hope this discussion would help everyone out there who is listening to this program.
Yes, inshallah, definitely. So, Dr. Saab, let's start with the basic. Tell our listeners about yourself, although you have been to this program, but for those listeners who are listening to you for the first time on this channel, tell our listeners about yourself, please.
So, on a very short note, I'm a sufferer who became a healer. So, I have myself basically managed 4 mental health disorders, and then I just decided to become a clinical psychologist. So I'm PhD in clinical psychology, and so far I have written 4 books on psychology on different domains, 290 research papers, 81 theses, and right now I'm working as a founder and CEO of Psychology Experts.
This is such a brilliant introduction, precise and short, and we'll be definitely discussing about those works, your thesis and your books. Tell us what is the most common mental health concern you have seen in patients in these days, especially as I mentioned in my intro that in these days the situation overall, and in particular of this region in which we live in Pakistan, so all our borders are unrest, you see. So what is the most common mental health concern you have seen?
If you talk about my opinion, it's been last 14 years I have been serving in this field, and I don't know any other job to do. apart from psychology. And one thing like which I am observing is that like it is a bombardment of information throughout the social media, and our mind is not getting as much rest and as much space like it was back possible in the past. So due to which I have seen a lot of anticipatory anxiety. And one thing like I want to clear as a clinical psychologist, when your mind is functionally disturbed, there are multiple loops which become dysfunctional. For example, like if a person is going into anticipatory anxiety, the fear of future and fear of uncertainty and fear of losing control and security, he will eventually get turned back to the backward loop, which is the depression as well. So people are becoming impatient, they are more anxious, and they are more depressed as well.
Can we categorize this fear into fear of unknown, or is that the fear of known?
It's a fear of basically known, but the reason is that like there is less self-actualization in the people. So when we say like somebody is having a fear of unknown, it means like that person is not being able to practice his consciousness and not being able to understand the concept of self-actualization.
All right. So how can individuals prioritize their self-care in such a time?
If I talk about myself, I have been very consistent and disciplined throughout my whole life. That's why like I never go for shortcuts. So, like you are connected, your mind-body is connected. Your mind has impact on your body and your body has impact on your mind. Mind-body connection and psychosomatic we call in psychology. So you have to take care of your sleep-wake cycle, your diet. You have to focus on your physical health. Must have 1 hour for your physical health, and then positive and assertive ways of catharsis and a good social life as well. And the important thing is man is social animal, and there must be have some friends. And the next is self-care is very important, like hairstyling, good clothing. That is each and everything counts in psychology.
Each and everything counts. And you mentioned that the constant news bombardment we have these days. So what is the impact of this consumption on mental health, and how can we strike a balance?
Actually, when we talk about human brain, like it is like just designed for the security, predictability and control. So when you are constantly bombarded by the negative news, like for example war or etc., even if you're not part of it, your mind starts to condition it as an insecurity and a reason for threat. And most of the times, like the people with the OCD are really suffering a lot because of these news, because their obsessions and urges are becoming out of order. And your anticipatory anxiety loops to start get out of your control. You start to get panic attacks, and deep down, like it's affecting the whole family as well.
Right. So what would be your advice to such people? The simplest, you just mentioned that, physical exercise and, focusing on your own self, but what else they can do?
Actually, if I talk about myself, like I would like what I practically do, like what I preach others, I follow myself. It's been last 10 years I haven't watched television. I even don't know like what's happening in the war. The reason is that like I just know like what's happening, but I'm not like bombarding myself into these kind of negative news. Because like the more you are into it, the more you're basically the insecurity and vulnerability becomes very common in your mind. Obviously you start to become depressive, you start to have anticipatory anxiety loop. So that's why protect yourself and do whatever you can do in your life, because obviously like while watching the news you can do none and nothing to anyone. So be aware of something, but balance is very important. Excess of everything is bad, so do the deficiency as well. Maintain your balance and focus on your own life. That's very important.
That's really great. And so focusing on your own life is the key. And so how can people support their loved ones who are struggling to cope with trauma or any kind of loss?
Firstly, they need to stop toxic positivity, because when someone is suffering at any level of mental health issues like trauma or loss, when you try to conform someone and try to say that it's all right, be patient, this is really a very atomic bomb on someone's mind, because those symptoms are real, that functioning is real in someone's mind. So it's a whole autonomic loop of the limbic structure, and your mind is getting out. You're physically volunteer but mentally involunteer, even though there's a war between the two parts of your mind, your cognitive mind and your emotional part of your mind. So you have to try to listen to someone. Sometimes it's better to just to listen and then just try to help someone to do some practical steps. For example, like I'm telling you biopsychosocial-spiritual model. Like use each and every adjunct to make yourself better as much as possible, but there is no shortcut to it. So you need to understand the true treatment of mental health issues. That is very important. For example, pain is real. When you are in pain, don't ignore it. Even though people try to say like ignore your negative thoughts, don't ignore them. Just give them away. And in order to give that away, it's a war. It's not like, for example, a playground. So you have to get some pain. So when you will get some pain of discipline and start improving your life, after 30 days, you have a good 30 days past, which you have created for yourself. Each day you need to show up. For example, I'm showing up here. I don't only talk. I even practice it in front of you. Why? Because I have a disciplined life. Like from the age of 16 years, I have been into a disciplined life. So that's why I'm showing up today, even in extreme trauma as well. You can't even imagine it. I will not even let you know.
Right. So you suggest that ignoring negative thoughts is not the right thing, right? And we should, as they say, that feel it to heal it.
True.
So you have to feel that, and you need to face it also. So Dr. Saab, in your experience, what's the key to building resilience in the face of such adverse adverse times, as we see and as we just mentioned?
One thing which is very important in clinical psychology, the school of thought which is based on behaviorism, is actually the right now the need of the time. What I think about is that we need the behaviorism school of thought over here to be applicable. Behavioral activation is the only thing that makes you stronger version of yourself. Because, for example, like if I'm going to gym, just giving an example, if I was able to lift 5 kg and then I go against my self and I lift 15 kg, it's an achievement. You have to take each and everything in account which you are uncomfortable. You have to get out of your uncomfort zone. You have to take about each and everything like in which you feel uncomfortable. Go over there, expose yourself, take those symptoms of panic attacks and just train yourself as you are doing it. And one day when that would become normalized for you, you would be controlling your mind. I have done throughout my whole life. I always make a list of the people as well whom I feel uncomfortable with, and I sit with them and I expose myself. They don't know like I'm having panic attacks while talking to them, but I still take it as a challenge. Even though you can take a challenge in your home as well. I might sound funny, but it's reality. You have a bucket and you have to fill the bucket with the water. For example, if the pressure of the tap is very high, it immediately like the bucket is filled with the water, but make it slow. After some time, you will start feeling restlessness that it's too much. It's taking too much time, and the bucket can be filled so much at an easier level. That is also the level of patience you can even build at your home. Like when the water would be flowing slowly into the bucket, and your hands would start to clenched. That like it's taking a lot of time. So that would also train your mind as well to have patience. And the one thing, always train your superego in your life. That is very important. Superego is something your values and your ethics. So if you want to stay, if you want to live, if you are in pain or if you are in trauma, people mostly suffer a lot because they lack values and ethics in life. And you must have some sort of values and ethics not to be challenged by your own self as well. So when you would be on those values and ethics, you can face any pain. You would be like for example, like in Ramadan, I take 30 days when I was in deep trauma, and I took 30 days to feel that pain. Not even changing my clothes, but still waking up at 3 p.m. The phone ringing up, and I was telling my clients not available. But I was not wasting my time. I was telling my elder brother that I need some time to feel this pain, and this pain is real, and these panic attacks are very real, and I'm a human being after all. But I'm planning something. So I took 30 days, and after 30 days I start to show up back again.
And that's really great to know. But Dr. Saab, people generally they have this tendency to avoid the pain or to escape it. But you are just suggesting that we need to not only face it, but we have to be, we have to face it, we have to feel it to heal it.
True.
So is it that easy as you are mentioning? You are a PhD, you have read and you have lived psychology, you treat people, you help people overcome their psychological issues. But is it that easy for a common person to face their fears?
It's never easy, but it's about quality of life. For example, like if we talk about antipsychotics, antidepressants, and mood stabilizers, the biomodel of mental health issues. So these medications are not curable, and they can only like suppress your symptoms for a limited period of time. That's why like there are very rich people in Pakistan, like they have been gone through every psychiatrist, and still they are not being able to cure, and they are on their beds right now. Why? The reason is that like the more you are taking antidepressants, antipsychotics, and mood stabilizers, you are temporarily getting relief. But then you are changing the MGs, and there comes a time when your central nervous system becomes weak, and then no more medication works on you. Your case become arthrogenic or refractory. Arthrogenic means like your symptoms tend to worse, or the new symptoms tend to arise. And refractory means your mind, your central nervous system tend to stop acting on those. And then the last strategy is lithium bicarbonate. And when it stops working, then there's a group of doctor with their so-called I'm sorry to say, like they're not honest with their profession. Please be honest with your profession. So aggressive interventions like ketamine injections, ECT, electroconvulsive therapy, electric shocks, and TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is the magnetic shocks. At the end of the day, after 7 to 8 days, when these doctors do these kind of pathetic, I'm sorry to say I'm very aggressive, but when these doctors play with the lives of the clients, they usually get praised for 6 to 7 days, and they're saying the doctor is very good. After 7 to 10 days, the person tend to have memory loss, which is not recoverable. And then second is depersonalization disorder, then derealization disorder. After that, even the Americans' #1 doctor can do nothing, because that is the aggressive intervention which is being banned in the foreign countries. But even though here the doctors are doing openly. So what left? Only pain of discipline is left, which is the lifestyle management. So if you accept the reality and you go for the holistic intervention from head to toe at a natural level, even I believe, if medicine can't cure, and English medicines have a lot of basically first generation, second generation, third generation, they are reducing so far. What the funny thing is, with the generation of medicines, they are not improving the treatment. They are trying to reduce the side effects of a medicine. For 3 generations, they are trying to reduce the side effects, not working on the effectiveness of a medicine. Like this is what's happening over here. So, like, for example, like if you have diabetes, let's take the example of Wasim Akram. He accepted the reality. For 1 year, in the first year, initial year of his diabetes, he was on the bed due to depression. Then his father told him that you are born like a lion, so please live your life like a lion as well. So he understood. Initially he took a lot of medicines, and he came to know like it's not curable. So what happened? Like he managed his lifestyle. So today he is 99% better than those people who are like, for example, lost their weight into depression, lying on the bed, on the medications. He is not even taking very less medications, which are very necessary, and he has even a muscular body right now.
Yes, and when he was diagnosed with the diabetes, he played
Exactly.
He also played international cricket, and he's still fit, and he coaches many teams around the globe in these leagues. So, Dr. Saab, you pointed out a very serious matter, that the doctors over here, they practice such things which are banned in the western part of the world. So that's not purely our area of area of discussion today, but isn't it something serious? And how would a patient know? Because when a patient approaches a doctor or a psychiatrist or psychologist like you, and they don't know anything about about it in detail, and if a doctor treats them, as you mentioned, that they are not doing justice with their profession, so tell our listeners a little about this also, so that they can what should they do to keep them safe from such practices?
Firstly, the treatment, the international protocols of mental health issues, because it's a functional disorder that can't be seen. Structuralism is something which is visible, like MRI brain is visible, but the functioning, thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, they're not visible. This is the working software of your brain. Firstly, there must be a baseline intervention. The baseline sheets consist of your report, which consists of scaling of ICD-11, International Classification of Diseases 11, DSM-5, and PDM-3. Because if you don't have any baseline, basically scaling sheet, your case would eventually become iatrogenic and your case would become refractory. And then your psychiatrist has to tell you that this is the medication as per your scaling for these couple of months we are going to give you, because obviously sometimes the symptoms are so out of control that you need to immediately, you have to suppress them. So to avoid any dysfunctionalities which could result in some negative consequences. So the doctor has to tell the client or the guardians that this medication would be safe for this couple of months. It would help the client to suppress the symptoms, and meanwhile the client has to perform the biopsychosocial-spiritual model. That is, from head to toe, he has to develop the resilience while following all of the dots that connects from mind to body, and he has to take the discipline. So once that time would be covered, the client would be at a stage where the client could handle all of the things naturally. And the neuroplasticity, the rewiring of your brain. But let me clear over here, because the doctors might be listening. I'm not talking about schizophrenia or psychosis, because when it comes to schizophrenia or psychosis, taking English medicines on daily basis on time is a compulsion, even though you cannot even shift to the alternative medicine in this case.
All right. So, dear listeners, we are having an insightful discussion with Dr. Arslan Akhtar Ali Sahab, and we'll be having more discussion on these important areas right after this wonderful track. Welcome back to Mind and Muse. This is me, Imad Kasir, your RJ on Planet FM 87.6. The show is Mind and Muse, and we have with us Dr. Arslan Akhtar Ali, who is a PhD in clinical psychology and CEO and founder of Psychology Experts, and he is having a wonderful discussion with us, very insightful. And Dr. Saab, during the break I have received many questions on my mobile also, and most of my friends, they are not only listening to this program, but they also have questions which I'll be asking you. Dr. Saab, one question that it is people feel that you deal with the clients of maybe upper middle class and elite class, and the kind of issues, emotional and psychological issues faced by middle class or the lower middle class, they face an entirely different kind of issues. So tell us about this a little, that is it really so? Is this perception right? Or if it is right, then what kind of issues are faced by the middle or lower middle class who don't have access to you and they only listen to you? And what would you suggest them? I mean, usually people don't have that much time with them for healing. So can you let our listeners know some basic lifestyle management so that they can address their issues?
Firstly, I always talk about the resources.
All right.
Like, you need to follow your resources when you are following a holistic plan.
Fine.
I was not having money from the start of my life.
Okay.
I earned later in life. So I was having very less resources than those who were having money by that time. If the money could buy the mental health, then the rich people wouldn't have all curability. It's about your discipline, and you have to understand yourself, your life, your surrounding. A doctor doesn't know what is your family environment, from where you have been brought up, and what is your culture. It's you who actually understands what is your real self. Even though if you're telling in a counseling which is not your authentic self, then what? People even lie as well. It's just about, number one, theory of odds. Pain is pain. In Pakistan, people usually, when the poor man sees a rich man, the poor man lacks money and rich man has it. When the poor man sees rich, he sees that he is the happiest person because the poor man is suffering because of lack of money. And when the rich man is sitting there, he is also in pain as well. But his pain is not money because he has already had it. He has something else. So the pain is always there, but the nature of pain and nature of problems differentiate from one point to another. You're getting this point?
Yes, absolutely.
So it's a theory of odds. You only see things in people which you don't have. That's why you think that other people are blessed. I have been sitting with elites and businessmen, and this bubble has been popped out. Seriously. With the bureaucrats, with the directors, and even with the businessmen. I don't want to name them. The companies which I have sat with, they all are not happy. They all are suffering in one or other sort of the pain, the nature which have bestowed on them. You're getting this point?
Yes, absolutely.
I know one person who earns 8 crore in 1 month, straight away. But he has a son, only son, who is schizophrenic. He has invested millions of rupees on his son, but schizophrenia is not curable. He has taken his son to UK, to USA, to Australia, to Canada, even though he has taken his son to Saudi Arabia for a series of time. But his son is not curable. You're getting this point?
Yes.
So when let me give you my example, because this is very important. When I was like young, I was not having, what I did is that, like, instead of joining the gym, I was not having the fee of the gym. I used to go to ground in the morning and then in the evening. I used to do my cardio in the ground. You can do it. No money is required for it. I used to have the simple diet. One breakfast, one daily meal at afternoon, and then one at night before sleeping, 2 hours before sleeping. I used to do relaxation exercises. You don't need money for them. And then there are a lot of CBT and DBT exercises already available on internet. Free workbooks. You can apply them. You're getting this point? And then you have to take, if you want to go for biomodel, go for the herbal or alternative homeopathic remedies, which you can take for the longer period of time without any side effects. No central acting. So if you are only you do these kind of things, and then finding the better ways to let out your negative emotions. For example, sometimes you don't need people, you need yourself. As Osho said, I am also following Osho as well, that when people are not being able to face their loneliness, then they want to be in the public. It's not like you don't want to be, you don't have to be in public, but firstly learn your loneliness. Firstly learn yourself, then become part of the public. You're getting this point? Absolutely. And this requires no money. Even though the diet I'm talking about gets you less money. Because there is no pizza, burger, no cold drink, and there are no fast foods, no processed foods, no chips, no burgers, and it's a simple diet. It costing you more or less. You're getting this? So it's been like last 10 years, I have been into simple diet. And I was gaining my weight lately because in the last year, like people, sometimes we are human beings, we lose our identity when we get something good, and we start to progress in life, we start to think like we're kings. So I have reduced 11 kg straight away.
So Dr. Saab, in your view, it is more of self-management.
Self-management.
It's
in G11 Marcus, there are 3 gyms. One is 10,000, second is 7,500. I go to a gym which is 1,500 rupees per month, and they only have basic machines, and I have lost 11 kg over there. It's all about you, like how you manage your resources.
There is a way, and
exactly.
You just mentioned that you used to do your cardio at a ground without any.
Exactly.
So this is really wonderful to know, and your will should be there. And Dr. Saab, one more question that I have just received on my mobile is that you before the break you mentioned about this. Emotional intelligence and attachment style, and since both these areas are significant for one's success in any walk of life, and people usually have so much complications in attachment styles, and since they are not well aware of these concepts, so please enlighten our listeners in simple words about this emotional intelligence and specifically on these attachment styles. You mentioned a couple of attachment styles, but how would one know about his or her own attachment style, and what are the ways to know the other's attachment style, and how would we be able not to intermingle these styles so that we won't we won't reach to our destination, may it be our professional or personal life.
True. Very, very good question. Once my wife told me one thing. Like she told me 2 days back. She said Arslan, you're actually a great psychologist.
You definitely are.
I am not saying but she.
No, but
why?
others are saying.
Why? The reason is that she says you focus on patterns. If you want to understand anyone's attachment style and you're in a relationship with, focus on the patterns. What that person is doing on a particular situation. For example, silent treatment is one of the pattern in a relationship. Passive aggressive. For example, the other person is not angry but still giving you, changing his attitude and way of talking to you when in a conflict. It means he is doing everything normal or she is doing everything normal, but not in that way before conflict. She was something else. So she is torturing you or he is torturing you in an indirect manner. And then you have to look it out. There are certain patterns which are very important. Some, for example, a person is good to love bomb you when he is in control or she is in control, but hates you when the control is lost. So when everything is at their pattern. So in order to get, you have to relationship, the relationship workbooks, in this, there is all of these things are we already mentioned over there. So you can learn from their patterns how they behave in a particular situation. And that's very important. For example, blame shifting in a relationship, for some people. For example, if we talk about narcissistic people, they are saint in front of the people, but in their personal life they are not. They're totally opposite. Why? Let me give you a very example. I think so life is also always an open book. Now, if somebody can torture you because of your past, I don't think you are a man of your words. And nobody can torture me. Seriously, I'm at that stage of life where I fear none. My brother was in a conflict with his wife. So my brother was shouting and everybody was judging him. I told the people one thing and everybody stopped talking afterwards. I said he was shouting. Was he born to shout at a woman? Was his purpose or goal of life to shout at a woman and even getting masters from London in public health? I said what actually the incident is that sometime women specifically shows you silent treatment, and there are people out there who are very assertive in communication. They want everything to be sorted out with the communication and clear cut. They don't want uncertainty in communication. But if a woman is giving you silent treatment, ultimately the negative emotions start to involve in your mind, an emotional upsurge, and you lose your temperament. Even at the same point, I told my brother's wife, if you would have sat down and said that, look at me, whatever happened, that was also my mistake, was your mistake, it's alright, let's forget about it. And if you would have become normal, things wouldn't have escalated that much. So you have to study about the relationship workbooks and all of the things, and then try to understand the patterns. Why someone loves you, love bombs you. Are you being exploited at a libido level as well? Libido.
Absolutely, yes.
Are you being into lust? That there are certain things. Why somebody is praising you at what pattern? And when somebody doesn't praise you, why? And what is the level of that?
So observing patterns is
exactly
really...
how somebody plays with their emotions. That's very important. For example, if we develop the patterns in relationships actually and we enforce them. For example, if I'm not against women, because there are so many my students they're female psychologists, they already think I'm against them, but I'm not. I'm just giving an example because I'm a male. If a male is leaving, alright, let's do this. Counterpart, if a male in a marriage, if a male is leaving the house and the female is being clingy, trying to say please don't go, for God's sake don't go, and getting panic attack, that male would ultimately manipulate her more. This would become her pattern. His pattern, that yes, she can't live without me, alright, now I'm the boss. Even the counterpartner seems as well. You need to balance it out with your values and with your ethics while understanding the patterns. In that manner, you are good, I am good. If you are not, but I'm not bad, but thank you. It's taken a lot of time and courage and a lot of pain you have to take to prepare yourself. When you are going to a gym, do you make your body at a very easier level? You work so much hard. Even when you are going to gym, it's not about lifting weights. It's about having a healthy diet. You have to sleep for 8 hours. You have to let your muscles relax, and proper angles and proper consistency. A lot of injuries I have faced during the gym as well. So we're talking about a life. which is out of gym, which is not about muscles, which is about your mind and your all of your whole life. So you need to prepare yourself for that pain. In that manner, like if somebody stays with you, you stay with the dignity. But if that person is out of dignity, let me give you one example. It's all right. Like I was in trauma, but I was not in a trauma. I was preparing myself to bounce back at a higher level. For the 7 months, my wife was back in her home. For the 7 months, I was avoiding even calling her. The reason is that like I was waiting for my son Nehan, day and night. So I never wanted any conflict. So at the 8th month, she told me that she wanted her mother and her sister to come to over here, and then she will come because she is dependent on her mother and she can't raise the children alone. I said all right, because I was just like Nehan should be here. Trust me, Allah is the witness if I lie anything, and that's why I'm on air. So her mother said, no, I'm not going. What is my fault in it? If I would have argued that your mother can't come over here, she said I would not go over there because this is not good for society to live in your husband's home. She said I'm also not coming. I said it's all right. Take care of yourself. I was in trauma because of Nehan, because my child is upbringing. I didn't argue. 2 days back she called me and she said you are a great psychologist. I accepted. And she used to doubt that previously. She said like you understand patterns and you live your life on dignity and values and you preach others what you preach yourself. She said I was expecting something else, like you would be clingy, you would be calling me, please come back, please don't do this, you will be aggressive. But I was shocked when you said it's all right, take care of your life.
That is really wonderful. Dr. Saab, one more question that somebody shared with me. They just want to know that if you do good with others, subconsciously you expect that they will also reciprocate in the same way, they will also do good with you. But if they don't, and usually we see that they don't, so how to overcome that? Because in that situation you feel bad about your own self, that you did good with someone and they did not even acknowledge it. So what are the tools to handle such a situation and such people also?
Actually the problem is that like we invest very less on ourselves and we invest more on people. For example, like the society has taught us like if you will think about yourself you would be selfish. The problem is that we are human beings, we are imperfect and we are born like that. Our ancestors are Adam and Eve. They have a history. Like they were got out of paradise as well. And then they do repentance and then they came back. Why you are expecting, for example, in my whole life, I have seen so much that whenever I'm doing something for someone, I just say I'm doing it for the sake of Allah Almighty. How a human can give you return? What a human can give you in return? No, nothing. I'm telling you this truth of my whole life, that a man can give you in return nothing. For if you are doing something for someone, then you have to do it for your Allah Almighty. And if you are doing something for someone so much, it means you don't have any values or ethics yourself. You don't have any sense of balance in yourself. Because, for example, if someone dies for a woman, do you think like it's the area of motivation? No. Because your life was not meant to do that. Your life was meant for something else, for the greater purpose of life. If you would have supported, for example, on the Eid I was at orphanage home. Those were the kids and those were the female children who were having no parents. You will see life there. Instead of spending that money for a girlfriend, is it better to go to the orphanage home and spend time with them, because your life has a greater purpose of life. So instead of expecting from people that they would be loyal to you, even though sometimes we are imperfect as well. There are so many people who do so much. For example, Awais Hatak, he did a lot, and when I got out of it, I never called him. And I used to text him and call him for 1,000 times, and he used to be so much polite with me. And nobody else was. Everyone was blocking me, and he was the only person who was immediately replying me. And when I got out of it, I forgot Awais Hatak.
If he's listening, Awais Hatak, we just talked about you off air also, and he's a colleague, he's such a wonderful friend. and you just mentioned about him, and people like him are very rare. And Dr. Saab, you just mentioned that we should be focusing on the greater purpose, but people like you who are educated and who have gone through such difficult life, and you have realized that we need to focus on our greater purpose in life, but usually we don't see that our common people who are not that much educated as you are. So how would you ask them to focus on their greater purpose?
You know what, it's about being more humble. It's not being about education.
All right.
Where I have spent my whole Ramadan, I used to do my, for example, I used to break my fast and between the laborers. In G11 Markaz, there is a whole road, and then we used to, we call it boulevard, area between the two roads. So the laborers used to sit down there. We used to break my fast, and you do my sari with them. This is life. So
wonderful gesture.
I just need to tell you, I did a lot for my wife. Now should I start telling him that I did a lot of you and now you have left me alone? Because one thing, always remember, if God is with you, nothing matters. If God is not with you, everything is with you. You are still a loser. So this is what I have gone through the areas of spirituality. I have gone beyond, I have understood it. And then you don't need to be rich to be happy. For example, what I learned in Ramadan, the laborer is sitting in front of me, and now the fast is going to break, and there are particular things which we have to share. He's giving me those things, and I'm telling him, I have money, I will eat it later, you can eat it, and he's giving it to me. If there are 6 dates, he is giving me 4 of them. So does he need any education for that? You're getting this point?
Yes, absolutely.
So try to connect yourself with the nature. Actually, we are so much artificial nowadays, even in our relationships as well, because we think we have invested. Relationships are not about investments, they are not transactions. If you are investing it, then please be a man of your words. You invested it because somebody took it, because that was their part. If I start counting my money, how much I spend in a relationship, that is a very low-key thing, because that was not my money, that was something else's money. My God just make me a way to help someone. You're getting this point?
Yes.
Even I will tell my son Nehan as well, that I would not ever tell him that how much I spent on him, because that was not my money. That was the money which was meant to be for him, and I was only the source by the Allah Almighty. You're getting this point? I'm only the source. I'm no one to count the numbers and transactions, because the money which is belong to me, I'm already having it.
But Dr. Saab, how many of us think like you?
It takes a lot of time and a lot of courage to think like that. And self-realization doesn't require education. If it does so, Prophet was not educated. You're getting this point? He haven't, we call it, in Arabic we call it ummi. But he was educated about life, and well educated than us. So you don't need books to understand this. You just need to connect with the nature, to look at the other people, and to look at how nature connects its dots, to become more aware of yourself as well, and to more look, for example, I don't know, when you see a girl outside at midnight with the barefoot and she is just begging. Obviously, what you were doing by that time, you were playing with the toys or might be sleeping on the bed. Why don't you invest yourself over there?
Dr. Saab, you mentioned Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He was directly taught by the Allah
True.
Almighty himself, and he, of course, he didn't require that formal education as we have. But Dr. Saab, the common people around us, we see, you just mentioned so many examples. So how do they get motivation from? And you, before the program we were discussing, once in your own life you were going through a very difficult time, and you mentioned that you had suicidal thoughts also, and that was the toughest era of your toughest time of your life. So how did you overcome? We all know and we agree that unless Allah Almighty wants us to come out of any difficulty, it's not possible for anyone to come out of any tough situation. But Allah Ta'ala's help, and what else you did in overcoming that time, because in such times we know that once we are low in our energy, once we don't find any way out. So it really becomes difficult for us to focus on the positives. We see negativity everywhere, and as you mentioned, that you were, suicidal in those days. So what did you exactly do to come out of that difficult time of your life?
Firstly, the lesson that I learned from my life is that never make relationships to get something from someone. Give and take relationships, because if somebody is not there to help you out, if Allah hasn't, I'm not a religious clerk, seriously. I'm a very different person, but I can openly and proudly say that I'm a Muslim, yes. And if Allah has made someone to help you out, He will help you out, even if he is not rich. There was a time when I was sitting with the people who were like police officers, etc., on Quetta tea cafes. Then there came a time when I got a decision of getting married was very bad for me for the first time, and I got deception in the first marriage and got bankrupted, lost all of my money. The bank used to start to come to a university where I used to work in, and the university just blacklisted me, and I lost my job as well. I came back my home, and my brother and my mother and all of them, like, they just really disrespected me. They start counting me how bad I am and how evil I am. And then my wife was laughing at me when I called her and I told her that please, I'm just dying and I have no one left, and I just did all of this for you. Like, I learned, I evolved. People think that I was perfect. I am not perfect. I just learned from the things. So I was left with the 600 rupees in my pocket. So I just went to a pharmacy in G11 Marcus, and I bought Epivol, Cortipricap. So I was just feeling very strange to have all of those medicines at once. So for 8 days I was lying on the floor, and each day I was taking 3 to 4 pills. So I was just overdosing it. And the banks were like knocking my doors and asking, telling my whole street that this man has taken the loan and not giving back, and even giving me threat as well. So I started vomiting in front of my own people, and it was green in color, because the olizapine is green in color, so it has that color, it stays in your stomach when it gets absorbs. So they were not even serious about it. Even my mother was not serious about it. My mother seek apology for me before she was dying. That's a trauma for me. She said, like, I did wrong with you, and that's why I'm dying in that phase. You're getting this point. So my brother latterly got kidney failure. I'm a very dangerous man. Don't mess with me. So no, God forbid. So he also apologizes me as well later on. So what happened is that, like, they all left me. Then I was about to give up. For example, like, I was just going to Srinagar highway, and everybody was blocking me. I'm calling each and every person, and they're abusing me, and they're calling me, and they're blocking me as well. They're giving me fake promises, and even though, like, my friends who were lawyers, they say, without money we are not going to. I don't want to take a name of a lawyer in Islamabad. She said, you don't have. I said, hello. She said, you don't have money to pay to the bank. How you can pay my fee as well? So please don't waste my time. And she just stuck it down. So Avas called me. Even I was very rude with Avas. I never talked to Avas. Avas just met me in during matriculation, and we were not friends as well. But yes, we were connected through Facebook and through social medias. So we were not that good friends. So, but he knew me that I am some. So he just called me, and he said, like, there is something wrong, and there is something which is circulating about you, and I know you very well. You have already committed suicide for the 2 times before as well, and you will do it again. I said, actually, I'm going to Srinagar highway because the medicines don't kill me anymore, because I've tried twice and I just came out of ventilator. So this time I wanted a heavy vehicle to hit me. He said, I don't want to take my nickname. So he said, don't do this. You just come back to your home. You just relax. On that time, Avas called Abdullah, Azhar and Amar. The police was first time entered my home, break my door, and even my family was afraid that Arslan has a very unique power. Even I was feeling very powerful, so they just pat me. The police officer pat me and said, don't give up, we are with you. And the same police took me to the Domino's Pizza, and they said, what you want to eat? I said, like, it's been 8 days, I'm just lying on the floor, I haven't eaten anything. And they said, like, what you want to? I said, like, pizza. So They brought 2 pizza. It was an offer, like when the Wacky Wednesday was an offer in which we get 2 pizzas, and I started vomiting because my body was not expecting any. I was not accepting it. They said like if the body is not accepting and he is not fully conscious, there is something is wrong. They took me to the hospital and then they said like there are medicines. He has been taking two doses each day for as a slow poison. So they are still in the stomach, and some of the medicines have been was being basically vomit out, so that's why I was saved. So then Avashatak totally helped me out, and then I started to learn to cook. I started learning cooking. I used to clean my whole home myself. I used to iron my own clothes. I used to do each and everything by my own. And then I become a fully functional person that I will never rely on anyone, even not at my shadow. I told Avashatak one thing. This is the last time I have been in this stage. If again I would be at that stage, I would not call you. Did I call them? No. This time, when this happened to me, did I call anyone? No. I said I will make it sure. You don't worry about it. And when I started psychology experts, even one of my friend, they were very skeptical about it. They used to think that I have become burden on them. I was sitting inside the Godam. Sorry, Ali. So I was sitting in the Godam and I was listening to my friends. They were saying that this man has become burden on us. Would you have taken this burden? Why? Tell him to leave now. I came out. I never let them know that I have listened all of the communication. I said, like Ali, I have some important things to do in my life, and now I would not be able to come here. He was already waiting for it. He said, no, Arslan, please don't go. We need you. I said, don't. Deep in my mind, I said, don't play with me. I never came back there. Even though now he calls me to visit his office, I don't visit his office anymore. And where I started, people don't know about it. I was sitting on the floor, my mobile on my hand and waiting for the client. The 500 rupees which I earned from after 18 days of waiting each day, each minute on my mobile phone, I still have laminated it. I have laminated all of the Quranic ayats which I wrote for me, and I used to paste them. I have laminated. Still I can show the people that I have still saved it, and that 500 rupees as well. There are a lot of things when it becomes a necessity. When the Ramadan came rightly after the bankruptcy, I went to Ali Chatha. They used to provide ration and basically daily goods to the poor people. I make a false story to him to get that, so I can spend my Ramadan.
So Dr. Saab, you have been through really tough time, and once again I would like to mention Awais Khatak, as you mentioned that in your tough times he was the one and his friends, and we are genuinely grateful to him that he in those days when your other friends they were not talking to you, and he was the one who came up to you and he played his role in saving your life. So Awais Khatak, we are genuinely grateful to you. And Dr. Saab, so this must have been a very painful time you just mentioned. So what would be your message to our listeners who are listening to your thoughts, your insightful discussion on these areas? And you once mentioned in our previous show that you were born to be a psychologist, although you didn't want to come to this field, but but Allah Almighty wanted you to become a psychologist. So when when clients visit you, they approach you, they come to you for advice, so do you see your reflection in them? Do you really feel? And you were mentioning before the break that usually the doctors, who practice, they don't do justice with what they do.
True.
So how do you see, and what is that something that makes you different from rest of the lot? What do you do which others don't while treating your patients?
Actually, it's about the existentialism, and not everyone is there for the self-realization. If everybody would become a deep thinker, this world would not be able to run off, because this life has this world has connecting dots, and everyone is important. Not everyone is there to become a deep thinker as well. And if I talk about my clients, I always go for the baseline sheet. I always never reflect myself, because being professional we need to be objective. Everyone is individual, everyone is unique. I do ICD-11, DSM-5 and PDM-3 report free of cost. Even it takes my 2 hours for this report, and it costs 15,000 if you're going to make it from somewhere else. So I do it free of cost, and then afterwards I don't know, like it's from Allah Almighty. There are some signs which I try to search in a client. If I think those signs are there, I work with those clients. Otherwise, I tell them about the interventions which they can stop. What interventions they are supposed to opt, and what interventions they are supposed not to opt in their life, and then I refer them to someone else. If I think I could not be able to work the client because those properties or basic things which I am finding in a client is not there. You're getting this point? It's not about education. I don't see that. I see some basic instincts, basic personality properties in a client. If I see them, I just want to work with them. If I don't see them, I don't waste my energy and don't waste their time as well. Because you're a professional, that doesn't mean you would attract each and everyone. You're getting this point? So but I give them all of the scaling based reports. Nobody will give you. I'm granting you. Nobody will give you ICD-11, DSM-5, PDM-3 report in a session. They will charge 15,000 rupees next extra for that report, because it takes a lot of your time and you have to mention each and every dot. Yes. And then I give them the internal intervention and educate them that what should be avoided as a shortcut. This will bring you a great disaster which you will never be able to cover back. So I just guide them. For example, yesterday one of my professors brought her daughter to me. He said I only trust you. That's a great achievement for me. The professor who taught me, he brought her daughter. She was having schizoaffective disorder. I said, sir, you are a traditional psychologist. Contemporary psychology is something else. And he said, exactly, that's why I have brought her to you. I said, sir, I am going to refer to her another person who would be better for her. I talked to that lady. I talked to that obviously she's 22 years young woman. I talked to her and I said I'm there to code it. I will code all of the report and I will the first intervention would be created by me. I would generate the first intervention, but this is the specific person who would be the best for this. So this honesty. One Canadian doctor told me, Dr. Alex Polgar once told me that, Arslan, what is the problem with you people? You have make medical science a business. You just do your work with honesty and money will come to you. He told me this thing. And he was right. He said, don't take medical science as a business. Even psychology. He was a clinical psychologist, PhD, Dr. Alex Polgar from Canada, very famous one. He told me, do your work honestly, the money will come to you. And that's true.
That is what the great Schopenhauer, he had once said, the great philosopher, he had also said this, that money will follow you if you do your work with honesty.
True.
And unfortunately, we have turned everything into business. I mean, be it medical science or what, everything.
True.
We have education also.
One message which I want to deliver from your platform.
Sure.
These alternative medicine practitioners in Pakistan need to have basic sense. A person who's doing MBBS, his one course is all heavier than your 4 years diploma. For example, these doctors claim at a very negative level. For example, when a depressive patient is going to a homeopathic doctor, that homeopathic doctor says depression is nothing, we have this remedy and you will get all sorted out. I know a lot of homeopathic doctors who take their family to the allopathic doctors. Why? And then in their conferences, in order to sell the medications, they just talk about the psychiatrists and other medical doctors, that your competition is not with the allopathy, because allopathy is far beyond you. Those doctors are far beyond you. Your role is an adjunct and you need to accept your role. Seriously, I'm just tired of it. The psychiatrists haven't ruined much cases, the number of cases which has been ruined by these homeopathic and hakims in Pakistan. Seriously, with their false claims. You're getting this point? I have worked with them and they just make no sense.
Right. Dr. Saab, what's one thing our listeners can do today to prioritize their mental well-being? What would be your advice to them?
Self-investment is the best investment. For example, like do your saving on things which you are supposed to do, but on food, never do your saving. On clothing, never do your saving. When it comes to your exercise, never do your saving. So save where it meant to be saved. Because at the end of the day, you are the product and you have to sell yourself even in a job or anywhere. So if you will be on the bed, how you would be able to earn anything? So that's why what I suggest is that don't save your money, because for example at the end of the day you would be on road, so what? If you would be on the road, so what? Like we were always on the road and on the streets. A man only need food and a cloth. Basically, if we talk about a man, what man needs to live? A food and a shelter. And even if you're on a road, you can have a shelter. Because I have already planned it when I was bankrupted. If I would be on road, what I will do? I would buy a shelter. I would like live in a temporary shelter. I was already made a very deep plan by that time. So, on focus at yourself. Try to learn new skills. Try to learn communication skills. Try to meet new people. Try to focus on your food, your diet, your physical health. And that is your well-being is very important. Try to give yourself some personal space. Sit down with yourself and try to write it down, like what's happened to you throughout the whole day. Where you went right, where you went wrong, how you can make it better. Each day counts and each second counts. And you will ultimately start to become a new person when you start to give yourself some time.
That's a wonderful way of putting it. Dr. Saab, in the start, while in your intro, you mentioned that you have authored books also. So tell our listeners who are interested in reading your books, how can they, reach out to your books, and what are those books about?
Actually, three of my books are for PhD students, so they are copyrighted, and the Cambridge has their copyright, and they just like certainly give to those universities like who have their copyrights, and they give me a share as well. But I have a free ebook, Fight to Flight, which I wrote when I was 22 years old. So it's chapters from life. I took chapters from different people, like those who are part of our society and how they are suffering from particular mental health issue and what is the neuropsychology behind that mental health. So you can read it out like online, Fight to Flight, the chapters from life. But the rest of the three books are very specialized books. So those are based on inner experiences. So they have been copyrighted by Cambridge University Press and given to those universities, those who have their rights, and even to the PhD students only.
And are you working on any other book these days you want to write more? Because the knowledge you have and the experiences you have in your life, so do you plan to write any sort of an autobiography or any other book?
We are going to write a book on relationships, attachment styles, and EI with Dr. Aisha Sadika. So she is a very good clinical psychologist as well. So tomorrow we are going to have a meeting on this. So we are just trying to write a book on narcissism. But I just rejected the idea of using this word again and again, because everyone is a human being and something happened to someone. That's why people become at certain level. So at this point of my life, if I start judging my father to be abusive, my father was not born to be abusive person. He never thought he would beat his life one day, and he never thought like one day I would get married and I will start beating my wife. So something happened to him which made him like that. So there is no excuse, but still we need to understand people. So I said we will write a book. I told Dr. Aisha that we will write a book about relationships and attachment styles and emotional intelligence and how to make your relationships better at any level. So we will discuss it by tomorrow. It's a coincidence.
So this is really great to know, and I'll keep in touch with you so that because such books are much needed, and
sure.
Of course, you'll be writing that in English, but for our Urdu readers, once you write this book, I would personally suggest you to have a translation of this book also, so that it can benefit more, because most of our audiences they read in Urdu. Dr. Saab, a question. Workplace environment and these appraisals and the competition among the colleagues at any office or a workplace, it has got a different kind of stress, and you also know, because and then we were discussing that off air also, that it always the water flows from top to bottom, and that we call that trickle down effect. So once if your boss is angry at you, I mean, you won't be able to respond with that anger or with that particular emotion, but you will definitely then you will say that to your subordinate. So one thing for our colleagues who are listening to this program, and especially when they get stress due to the appraisals, because you know that in our system everyone cannot be awarded an A grade, for instance.
Exactly.
We have these rating systems which is in most of the organizations, so you have to keep certain percentage in A and then B plus. True. And so on. So for those people who are listening out there, what is your advice to them, that those who, despite doing good work, despite putting all their efforts, they are not awarded a good grade, how should they keep themselves motivated, and how not to get into some negative emotions?
Actually, you're right. Like one of your colleague, like you might know, he works over here in your radio station, like Radio Pakistan. So he was my professor as well once. So he just told me like there was someone who was undeserving and he got promoted and he didn't got promoted. Actually, the problem is that, like, who told you the game is fair? Who told you? Like, who told you the game would be by the book? Because we are in a capitalist society. Throughout the whole world, there's a competition. If we talk about that UK is doing so great, Canada is doing so great. No, I'm working with them and I know like they are also frustrated and they are also now like suffering as well. Life is by emotions, but business is by cognitions. And unfairness is part of human nature. You're getting this point, and life is a competition. So it's all about your emotional intelligence, how you deal with the things. And you just have to have that absorption level in you. When you are at work, you're not there to make relationships. You're there to do your work. And then it's part of it. Because when you are in a business, any business is not for free. Even the charity is not. It's like some from somewhere at some point the money has to be generated. You are getting this point. Even the charity is working on a money. They generate money like the different models, and at the back of the end, the pressure that charitable organizations or employees face is much larger than the people like who are working in this system. I'm just giving an example. So just make it sure that you have to improve your emotional intelligence, because the problem is not what working. This is the reality, that when you are at a work, you have to absorb each and everything. You have to deal with the unfairness. A lot of unfairness has been done to me as well. But should I start crying over it? Because this is part of life. Life is unfair. You're getting this? So when life is unfair, accept it. Don't be a loser. Don't cry over there that this happened to me, that happened to me. Then keep on doing your stuff. When your time would come, it would come. Nobody could stop it. This is very important. I've seen so many people who did politics against me, and at the end of the day, they called me sir. So it took me 7 years for that, but I kept on working consistently. So when you are just doing your job and you are standing in front of the mirror and you are thinking that I am being honest with my job, then nothing matters, and then absorb the pressure. For example, if my dean, when I was in the department, like we lecturers and professors don't have smooth life. People think that we only teach. We have a lot of things to deal with. So whenever our dean even used to throw files at us as well, because he was a retired Pakistan Air Force officer, Air Commodore. So I will not take the name. So he used to throw the files at us. So what? It's all right. Like it's part of our life. Once a new lady came in the department and he did the same thing and she started crying. I took her to the coffee shop in the same university and I told her that start learning this, because this is part of your job. as well, because we are here to earn. We are here to basically make money for the university. It's a whole. It's an education institute which is running on the money. We generate money from the kids and from different where, and they pay us for that. So we are not here to sell our emotions. This is very important. Work on your cognitions.
And Dr. Saab, as we come to the end of the show, what would be your message, one last message for our listeners?
I would just like try to say invest in yourself, and health is wealth. Once you will not invest in yourself at the right time, once you would lose your everything, and once you would lose your health, at the end of the day, for those people you did that, they will not be there to support you, and there is no reversal. My brother lost his kidney, and both of his kidneys, being into kidney failure, having dialysis for the 3 days a week, and he was in London, he was masters in public health, and what he did, he didn't invest it on himself, he invested his energies on the wrong things. So now, he used to tell me the same thing as well, Arslan, invest on your health. Once your health would be gone, nothing matters who you are. And that I realized when I was having lower back pain. I started working for so many hours while sitting down, even not caring about myself and my diet. I was having lower back pain, not being able to sit, not being able to stand, and I thought like it's time to die. I was telling God to please make me die, because that was so much painful. Sciatica pain was so painful. But then I started working on myself, lost 11 kg, started dressing again, having good hairstyle, and even though you don't money for it, people used to have a hairstyle for 1,000. You know, like how I sit with the. You might be get up. You might be thinking like what kind of person he is. I give 100 rupees because I sit with the roadside barber. I don't care about it. Like those diseases, I don't afraid of them. I just make the basic. I have this basic hygiene rules which are to be followed. So I just tell him that what hairstyle he has to make. So you don't need money for it as well. I'm telling you this.
So this is wonderful. Invest in yourself, and that's all the time we have for today. A huge thanks to our guest, Dr. Arslan Akhtar Ali, a clinical psychologist, a PhD, and CEO and founder of Psychology Experts. And dear listeners, if you are struggling or just need someone to talk to, remember that seeking help is a sign of strength. Reach out to your friends, your family members, or a mental professional so that you can be taken care of, and take care of yourself. And as Dr. Saab rightly mentioned, that invest in yourself, give time to your own self. As Dr. Saab was mentioning that in his toughest days, he used to focus on himself. He had a great hairstyle, and he used to invest in his clothes. So to focus on yourself, give time to yourself, and when you seek advice, do not hesitate. And with this message, I once again thank Dr. Arslan Akhtar Ali for taking time out and for joining us in this show. And this is me, Imad Kasir, signing off from Planet FM 87.6, Mind and Muse. Until next time, Allah Hafiz.